Great day and welcome! Today I will be doing a full series review on The Ballad of Sir Benfro, which is a 5-installment book series, which starts off with the book Dreamwalker, The Rose Gourd, The Golden Cage, The Broken World, and part 5, The Obsidian Throne. Part 5 was my absolute favorite. I have already done a poetic book review on this series, but since poetic book reviews are not really suitable for giving a bit more extended opinions on the series, I will be doing a full review. We'll start now with a short synopsis of the series, which starts with a prologue of Errol and Benfro being born at almost exactly the same time in the same place under the same moon, which has something to do with a prophecy, is a key to this story. And it's a prophecy made by a character in this book that has been long dead. When Baldwin's last sits on the stolen throne and Kitling sleeps beside the baby never born, when darkness stills the forest birds at noon, in blood and fire Golod will start anew. The first part of this prophecy is really prominent in the beginning of the first book, and that's why I think that is important, but these kinds of prophecies keep on going on during the rest of the series. But the last part is actually foreboding towards the final book, towards the epic end battle. You cannot get more spoilery than the epic end battle in the 5th part, which has, in my opinion, of course, the most beautiful cover in the whole series. Two main characters, Errol, Ramsbottom, a human, and Benfro, a dragon, being born. Tune into them again, or about 15 years. Errol, a girl named Martha. They have been taking lessons from a dragon in magic. In this book, the dragons call magic the subtle arts. Humans call it magic, but they call it the ways of the grim, because they learn it from a dragon, and he learns them how they can walk the lines, which is a really incredible art that not even all dragons can do. Never mind all humans. No other humans actually know properly how to do it, because it is so difficult to tune in. Plus, the people in this book mostly just use very, very, very cruel and violent ways. That's also some of the things I like. This book, of course, is just world building mostly. It is slow, and in the end something happens that actually sets up the story, which is Benfro's mother gets killed by one of the head persons, Merlin, which is dictated by their religion, but the people nowadays don't really know why. Errol has been abducted and kidnapped into priests, and people are educated to become either teaching people, healing people, or dragon hunters. It's a little bit more complex than that, but that's what I mostly do there. And he would be so talented that he would be a dragon hunter, but he is set up to be a spy because he looks a lot like the people from the neighboring kingdom, which they want to. I like that. I like the world building, I like the story building, I like the court political and war intrigue in this series. I also like the writing. It's almost poetic at certain times. But I have not yet discovered plot holes one book after the book they appear in the same book or in the last book, which I thought really nice, because in this book the ending was so satisfying. All loose ends are literally tied. You get a view of what happens to all of the characters that played a major or even a little bit more of a minor role in this book, because this is a series at least 10 perspectives. It is not written in the way that you have one perspective in a chapter and then the next chapter you have a different one. Sometimes there is up to 8 perspectives in one chapter, because the chapter shows you what is happening at a certain time as opposed to what is happening to a certain person. So one of the major themes that really runs through the books, which I thought was really amazing, is the way that religion puts a role in it, because we have 3 different societies in the end. One is heavily religious, and the religion is heavily based on Christianity. From the way those people look at their God and listen to their God, to like even what the God, what they have to do and what they should not do, and that they go, after death they go to the eternal plains, and their God is the shepherd, just like Jesus. I found it really interesting to read, and it came back the entire time, but the god was given a nice little twist at the end. Then we have one completely atheistic society, because the world is split in two. We have also people who resemble kind of a naturalistic religion, people who worship nature and trees and stuff, and people somewhere that worship dragons as gods. They literally see their dragons as gods. They sacrifice humans to their dragons, and those dragons just pick up the humans and eat them, which was really sick in my opinion. It's just a minor part of a story in one of the books. It's not really a spoiler. It's so creepy. And in some religions it is kind of done as well, which makes it even more crazy. On top of that, the general character development, even of a little bit more minor characters, was so well done. Almost all of the characters get a well-rounded character build. You get to know where they come from, either how they are brought up or what they went through, so you get a little bit of insight about, you get their development throughout the story, which is also really, really well done. Love that. In the end, I gave the final part 5 stars, and the entire series 4.5 stars, not because the other books were generally bad, but I gave this book 4 stars, simply because of the fact this was a story building. It was action started happening just around half the book, and since the book is about 400 pages, you need to go through 200 pages of interesting but slow world building before you get to 200 pages of still slow, interesting world building with a little bit of action in them. It's still a worthy read because 4 stars is still a really high rating, but parts 2, 3 and 4 I gave 4.5 stars, so it averaged out at 4.5 stars, making it one of my all-time favorite series, and I'd really recommend you read it, especially if you like high fantasy and would like to see stuff from the perspective of dragons, because not only Benfro's perspective is shown, but we have a couple of other dragons as well. And mythology that turns out to be at least partly through in these books, which is a really nice little thing which you see from the first book on.